And the whole time he's acting on this love and doing different acts that quench his thirst. They satisfy his love to Hashem. That's a regular tzaddik. The special tzaddik is someone that's so selfless that he has no ulterior motive in his mitzvahs. Which means he's doing the mitzvah for the sake of Hashem. Since Hashem has a whole plan, which we're going to learn later on in Tanya, why He created the world, and why He wants us to do mitzvahs. So part of it also, God made it easier for us to do mitzvahs because it will satisfy us. When a person does what's right, he feels close to God, and he feels accomplished, and he feels like he's accomplished, he's doing something in this world. But a tzaddik is on this level, he doesn't feel any self. He has no gratification from the mitzvah. All he wants, his whole goal in life, his whole desire is to do God's will, to make God happy. And like the Zohar says, it's like a son who loves his father and mother more than he loves himself. It's an interesting halacha. It says, this is a very interesting concept in Jewish law. It says that if someone catches a thief in his house, middle of the night, so you're allowed to kill him in self-defense. Yeah, because someone is coming to you in the middle of the night, a thief, he doesn't want to get caught, he's ready to kill. So the assumption is, anyone who's ready to kill you, you're allowed to, you actually have an obligation. Someone comes to kill you, kill him first, and you're not liable. You did the right thing. However, it says if it was the verse in the Torah says if it was in daylight, so then you're not allowed to. And Chazal explained that what this means is it was in daylight means if it's clear as day that this person will not kill you, even if he's robbing you, and you go ahead and kill him, then you didn't do it in self-defense and you're liable for murder. Who's someone that's clear, that's as bright as daylight? If a father robs his son, the son is not allowed to kill his father in self-defense because it's not self-defense. If it's the other way around, if a son is coming to rob his father, the father is permitted to kill his son in self-defense. Because the son is suspected that if he's robbing you, if he's a thief, and you get in his way, he might pull out a gun or a knife and kill you. So we see that the love of a father to a son is stronger than the love of a son to his father.
So why would the father kill his son?
That's a question that everyone always asks.
Why would the...
He's asking if that's the case, then why would
the son is robbing the father?
Why would the father kill his son?
He's allowed to.
It doesn't say he will. It says he's allowed to. In self-defense. Yeah, but a father will never do something like that. Even if he's robbing his own son, he will never kill him. And the son has no right to act in self-defense in this case, because it won't be true self-defense.
It doesn't say he's going to kill him. It says he's allowed to.
Right.
Either way, he's not allowed to, because you would know for a fact.
Yeah. So that's what a son. That's the definition of a son in Torah and Halacha. In Jewish law, a son is someone that could reach a point that he will kill his father. That could happen. In the worst, it's not a common scenario. Of course, we all know that. Yeah, children will many times put themselves in danger for their parents. But it's possible. But the Zohar describes a son. It says the love that this tzaddik, the greater tzaddik, has to Hashem is so great that he loves his father and mother more than he loves himself. He's ready to die for their own sake, which is not the son according to the revealed part of Torah, according to the halacha, to the nigla. This is a higher level. It's not something which is required of every Jew. Not everyone could achieve this, even if they wanted to. So this is the definition of this tzaddik. A regular tzaddik, what motivates him to do God's will is a certain form of gratification, which in this case is not money or honor. It's closeness of God, but it makes me feel good to be close to God. That means that I have a little bit of self over here, a little bit of, it's called in Chassidus, yeshus. I feel myself, but it's being channeled in the right direction. I elevate myself that what do I want? What makes me feel good doing God's will? But it's about myself. In one level or another. I'm doing it because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel close to God. The greater tzaddik doesn't feel himself in any way. And this is actually what the Zohar reports. The Rashbi said, Ana simana ba'alma. It's a word in Aramaic. Ana simana ba'alma means I am just a right word for it would be help me out.
You're afraid to say it, say it.
No, I'm trying to think what. I'm just a sign of a symbol. I'm a symbol of God in the world. I'm not, most people could say I'm myself, and I also represent God. I also do God's will. Rashbi was someone who had nothing of himself in his whole life, especially on the day that he passed away. He brought different examples. I'm tied with one bond to God, and then I'm like a flame. When one flame connects to another flame, it becomes one fire. Says he reached that point. This is on the day of his passing. Even Rashbi reached the highest levels on the day of his passing. And like Bomer, that's such a special and powerful day. But all I am is just a representation of God in the world. I have nothing else. So when I do a mitzvah, it's not because I want to feel close to Him. I'm so nullified to Him. I'm so one with Him that when I do a mitzvah, I'm doing it for the reason that He made mitzvahs in the first place, for no other reason. When there's no other reason, then you could say you're a tzaddik gomer, you're a complete tzaddik. If there is any other reason, we're not talking about reasons like material gain or status, but
selfish. Those would be selfish.
It's selfish. We wish would be so selfish that all we want is because I'm selfish. I want to be close to God, so I'm going to be nice and kind to everyone. I'm going to pray and study the whole day. That's amazing. That's a tzaddik. You don't want anything wrong. All you want to do is God's will. But why do you want to do God's will? Because it makes you closer to Him. It means you have a certain gratification from it. Then you're a tzaddik, but you're not a complete tzaddik. Only if you do it like Ashbi. You did it for Hashem's sake only. Not for Him to become close to Him. He was already one with Him. It's for His sake. That's the concept that we say in L'Shem Yichud when we do before mitzvahs. In Chabad Siddur we do it only once a day. That when we say why we're doing a mitzvah, in order to unify the Yudke and the Vavke, which is Kabbalistic fusions, if you may, things that we accomplish, different unions that we accomplish when we do a mitzvah. So when we do a mitzvah, it brings us closer to God. But what God gains from the mitzvah, so to speak, is that His energy comes into the world, is drawn out into the world. So a regular tzaddik does it for God's sake and for his own sake. He's doing it because God wants and he wants. And a great tzaddik is doing it only because God wants.
Okay, I think going back to the idea of human action, it's like a hero in a war. He's totally committed, doing a truthful action. So you can say it's like being a tzaddik. And what's a Beinoni is somebody that's all the time has conflicts, but keeps moving ahead in his life. He's still in action, even though he's objective, obstacle, constantly torn, but he keeps moving ahead in his life. Whereas a person less than a Beinoni is what we call a neurotic these days, a person that's ineffectual, gets stuck in impasses and just never completes the actions in his life.
It's a beautiful
so you can think of it in that respect.
Yes,
also.
it's definitely a nice way to put it. So we discussed
even the regular person doesn't get stuck. He keeps on moving on.
Certain things that actually. I want to just we'll discuss this more in the coming weeks. But there is a concept. Just to end off with one point. Yeah, okay. Opened up. We started that this chapter in Tanya is the only chapter that's not made for everyone. These are very high levels. Even the regular tzaddik. Not everyone, even at least till our generation, not everyone could even reach this, even if they wanted, even if they fought their whole life, they wouldn't necessarily overcome that evil and throw it out of themselves. So why is it here? It's a question that people who study Tanya always ask. There's a book. It's called Sefer Shel Tzadikim. The Alter Rebbe wrote a book. This is the book of the Beinonim. He wrote a book called the Book of Tzadikim, and the book was only for tzaddikim. So not everyone really got a chance to study it. No one at all. And
who would study? Probably.
He wrote it for, I don't know for who, for himself. I'm not sure.
No, but I'm sure the Rebbe told people to study.
No, that's
or they knew were tzaddikim, obviously.
Perhaps, no? But the way the story goes, the book, it was bound on both sides. And it said on it,
you can't open the
Cherem de Rabbeinu Gershom. Rabbeinu Gershom was Moragal. He lived about close to 2,000 years. Close to 1,000 years ago.
You can't open the book.
Yeah, about 1,000 years ago, maybe a little more, 1,200 years ago. He made a few charomas, a few takanot. One of them that we don't marry two wives, more than one wife.
Oh, okay.
Oh, was it?
That was him.
Oh, yeah.
And another one was not to read someone else's mail.
He knows it from experience.
Oh,
That's what he
Not to
knows.
read someone else's mail. So
That's
that's why you have an envelope. Sometimes you write, if it's really confidential, in Hebrew you write chadrag, which means Cherem Dever Negashim. If you open up this confidential piece of information, you're in trouble. You're transgressing the Cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom.
you know too much.
So
No
the
wonder.
Alter Rebbe bound the book from both
I didn't
ends.
know that.
And in addition to that, he wrote on the book, it's Cherem Dever Negashim. It's not to be opened. And there was a fire. In the fire, the Alter Rebbe's a large part of his library burnt down, including many parts of his Shulchan Aruch. There's different fires. I don't know if it was at this particular fire. That's why the Shulchan Aruch of the Alter Rebbe that we have today is
fire?
we have even the part which is which we have most of it, which is the first volume, is missing here and there. You have chapters that are gone, that were burnt. How did it survive? Because most of it was already copied. The Hasidim would copy it. There's other copies that existed. And so many of the Alter Rebbe's writings, since they were copied out by different people at different opportunities, sometimes legally, sometimes illegally, but they were copied, so they survived. There were copies that survived. This book, the Alter Rebbe once wanted to, I guess, like he said, maybe he was the one that would read it. He asked his son, the Mittler Rebbe, after the fire, do you perhaps have a copy of this book? He says, what do you mean? You bound it on both sides and you wrote Cherem De'Rabbeinu Gershom. You didn't let anyone peek at it. So he said, I thought you guys would have more Mesiras Nefesh, more self-sacrifice for Hasidus. I thought that you guys would, you would be ready to transgress my command out of commitment to Hasidus. But I guess that in most cases they did. There are many other, but this book was written and it didn't survive.
Wow.
What year was this one?
This is the Alter when
1920,
no, we're talking about in the early 1800s. The Alter Rebbe one of the times he wrote another book, a sequel to the book of the Beinanim. But it was something that was too big of a revelation that we weren't worthy of. So when Mashiach comes, I'm sure we're going to get it.
And therefore one got fired, burned again?
It got burnt and not
Second time?
No, not one time. It got burnt without no one stole it. No one copied it
No, I'm
over.
saying you said that first there was a book of Tzaddikim, for Tzaddikim.
And that's it. And it was
Oh,
burnt.
that's it. I thought you said you wrote the sequel to afterwards.
And just to end off, a lot of times giving marks to tzaddikim. So I want to. The Alter Rebbe had a colleague. His name was Rabbi Baruch of Mezhbush. He was a grandson of the Baal Shem Tov physically. The Alter Rebbe said he was a spiritual grandson. So, and they disagreed in many ways. Rabbi Baruch also had different tzaddikim that he didn't really agree with, and he was very, very tough personality. And once he heard one of his chassidim, speaking this not respectfully about the Alter Rebbe. You think, he's your enemy, your opponent, and the Hasidim were talking. So he told him, you better be quiet. I'll tell you a story, a mashal. There was one time a king who ordered a crown to be made for him, and he hired a few jewelers, professional jewelers, and the professional jewelers were arguing where the crown jewel should be placed. And they're arguing, and they got very heated in this debate. They were screaming at each other. So one guy passes by and he says, I think he's right. So they both turn to him and says, you fool, be quiet. You weren't appointed to deal with the king's crown. So when there's different arguments between tzaddikim,
Keep your mouth shut.
it's not for us. So what kind of tzaddik he is, that's beyond us. So why are we taught about this level of a tzaddik? So one explanation is that we should know at least what to strive for, even if we'll never get there. At least we know that there's this great thing. Another reason is to know that who to connect to, who to get inspired from. There are these people in the world, and we see that there are tzaddikim. Jews have this intuition; they know who's a real tzaddik, and they know who to hang around, who to be near. So we have to know what a tzaddik is. We have to know that it exists. We have to know that maybe Hashem will give it to us. It's good to dream big. Make sure not to let those dreams mix you up. Sometimes people dream too big and they end up, sometimes you want to be a millionaire and that's why you missed the opportunity to be you want to be a billionaire, so you missed the opportunity to be a millionaire because you're thinking of being a billionaire. But it's also good to dream big. So we study it, whatever we could, also by learning about it, we do the best, the closest that we get to it. And so let's all try to be tzaddikim. The Rebbe told us in our generation, everyone could be a tzaddik. Doesn't mean you could skip straight to be a tzaddik. You have to work the ladder up. But we have a promise that if we become a Beinoni, then maybe Hashem will, something that previously was maybe Hashem give you, Hashem will definitely give it to you. When Mashiach comes, we'll all be prophets, we'll all be tzaddikim.
So how can you start to be a tzaddik when you should first like you said, you
Yeah,
should
so
start to be a Beinoni?
your end goal is a tzaddik.
And go, okay.
You know that to be a tzaddik, you have to stop being a Rasha.
My end go, oh.
Then be a Beinoni, and then Hashem will make you a tzaddik. But that should be the ultimate goal in mind.
One more question.
Right. Yeah.
I have a question, just quick.
If I may.
If I may, yes.
You may.
This time, after you finish, I say, if I may.
Mayor.
After you finish. Otherwise, I'm not. Okay. He said, what is the lesson that it's used